Okay, it is Monday. It's a little after noon. Yep, 12:06. My son just went down for his nap, and you know what that means. It's time to try to get some work done. Today, I'm going to be trying to fix a problem that I didn't realize existed until just a couple of days ago. My big project right now is that I'm trying to finish the young adult portal fantasy series that I began a long time ago with the first book of the series called The Fallen Odyssey. Pay no attention to the fact that this is a proof copy. These are the ones that I leaf through whenever I'm taking a look at old stuff, so that if I mark them up or if I end up folding the pages, then it doesn't matter because it's just one of the proof copies, not for resale. So that's the first book in the series. I recently reread that for I don't even know how many times I've read it. I reread it so that as I'm finishing up the series, writing the final book, which the series is basically done, I'm just trying to figure out how to package everything together of what I've got and bring it out and make sure it's a satisfying conclusion to everybody who's been waiting for the end of this series, because literally dozens of people are excited for the end of this series. But I reread that one to refamiliarize myself with stuff and make sure that I didn't forget anything. And then I also reread book 2 of the series, The Fallen Aeneid, that one there. And then I'm currently working my way through book 3 of the series, which is called Shadows of the Fallen. It was supposed to be a 4-book series. I wrote the 4th book as, the final book in the series, but it turned out to be super long. So right now my problem is, how do I split that book into 2 while making sure that it's each one of those 2 books is its own self-contained story that deserves to have its own book and has its own beginning, middle, and end. But that's not the problem we're dealing with today. The problem we're dealing with today is the fact that as I was reviewing The Fallen Aeneid, I found this little line on this is page 100 in the hardcover version. And what's going on here is that some of the main characters in this fantasy world, this is portal fantasy, so the main character is from Earth, and he kind of wakes up in this alternate world. This is like a teen and young adult sort of fantasy novel. And the problem is that one of the characters, as they're sailing through this ocean and they're trying to figure out where to go next, references where they're headed. And let me make sure I find the correct line here. There we go. They're heading to a place called Esthian, okay? And Justin, the main character, says, "Where is Esthian then?" And Gunnar, the ship captain, who turns out to be a little more than a ship captain, he says, "No one knows except those who've been." Justin cocked an eyebrow. Mysterious. "It's a large tropical island," said Gunnar. "That really is all I know. Olland would only tell me to stick to the strong winds till we see the shores of Darcida, then veer west." Okay, so there's the line. Now, the issue is that was written long before I ever made any maps for my fantasy world. Now, since then, I made a couple of maps. This one shows like the entire kind of bunch of continents that make up the world. This one's sort of more of like a close-up of where most of the action takes place in one of the main continents. And then there's this one, which shows north of that first continent that I showed you, or the second map, that continent. And we've got these island chains over here, and you can see where the group is headed to this place called Esthian, which is attached to the continent of Darcida. It's clearly not. It's not an island. It's not an island. So basically what happened was, when I made these maps, long after I wrote, we're talking years and years after I wrote The Fallen Aeneid, I forgot that Estian was supposed to be an island. Now, the way that I thought that I could fix this was, well, I have access to all the files. You know, I'm a self-published author, which means I have total 100% creative control over everything I do. I'll just go back and I'll just erase that little line where Gunnar says that, or I'll alter it so he says something else. But then I got thinking, okay, a lot more people have read that book where he says that line than have actually seen these new maps. Not many people really, these maps have only been available for a short time, and I haven't sold a ton of the copies of the books that have the maps in them through online means. Most of the ones that I've sold that have the maps have been through in-person events at like Comic-Cons and book events and stuff. And so I thought, really the thing that makes more sense to do is to create alternate versions of the maps, or not alternate versions, corrected versions, because I screwed up. Now, you also might be wondering, like, does this even matter? Like, I bet nobody is even going to notice this or care. Well, I'm going to notice it, and it's going to bug me. This is going to bug me forever if I don't fix it. So today, what I'm going to try to do is go in and fix it on the maps. The challenge here is going to be that anytime I use this program, this map making program that I created these maps on, anytime I use it, my computer sounds like the space shuttle is about to launch. It gets very, very warm. The fan is going like crazy. And also, whenever I record videos, my computer is like kind of old. It's not like a super updated laptop here. It's an older one. Also, when I open up this program that I use to record videos and connect the camera to it, it also sounds like the space shuttle is going to go off. So we're going to see what happens when I attempt to use both programs at once. If this video ends very quickly, you'll know why. So let me switch to my writing screen so you can see what I'm going to be doing here. So here we are in the program that's called Wonderdraft, which is just awesome. I had to learn this program on my own to figure out how to create the maps for the books, and I'm pretty happy with the way they turned out. I am not a professional, graphic designer or illustrator or anything, and I'm okay with that. I think it's kind of cool the way it turned out. So this is one of the maps that we need to fix, the one of the Northern Radidian Sea. So I can either choose to just delete this label and then leave it kind of mysterious, or I can select one of these islands up here to be the actual location. Now I also need to remember how to use this program. So the one thing, and as we zoom in really close, it's going to get blurry and pixely because this is meant to be a much larger image, which is fine. The only thing that we actually need for this island to be is big enough for some of the events to have happened on it. And we also need it to be west of the shores of Darceta. And it has to have like a little like inlet sort of area because that was, that was indicated on in Gunnar's description. So I think it could possibly be this one. I think I'm gonna make it just slightly bigger by raising the land here. This is a lot easier to do with a mouse. So I'm gonna make that smaller. What I'm doing is changing the size of the tool here. And if I make this little part here like that, I might get rid of this island. Yeah. Try to make this look a little more natural. I don't know. Okay, that looks better when I zoom out. It doesn't look quite as much like Pac-Man. Don't zoom out that far. Get rid of that. So, I think it's also harder to use this with the trackpad on my laptop instead of what I usually use, which is the mouse. But I don't usually have all this. So, I'll just move this up here. Maybe like there. And then we've got the symbol, city symbol, which is right here. I just use this thing, I should be able to grab it. Oh yeah, I forgot. I used this cool little thing there. But I don't think that's going to work on that little island. But I can use the city symbol. Put it right about here. Move this over a bit. Now I gotta find the right type of tree that I used. It's not that kind. I think it was this kind. And make it the right size. Zoom in. I don't think that is the same tree exactly. Oh, maybe it is. But I've got palm trees mixed in too. Put some of the palm trees in. All right. Now maybe we'll add some up here. I don't want them to be different sizes because then it's going to look weird. Just add a couple of those. And then a couple of these ones. I don't love the look of those trees there. It looks a little... Actually, it's not too bad. Like I said, I'm not a graphic designer sort of person. It's not my thing. So it's kind of like, this is just kind of cool to me that I can have this. It's not like an essential thing. So it's okay if it's not perfect. So, does that look a little better? I wish I knew how to just move this. Without my mouse, I'm lost. Alright, there we go. Well, that's a start on that map. I'm going to pause this, and then I'm going to come back and see if I can open up the other map and fix it on there. Okay, so there we go. I'm happier with that. I'm just going to make sure that saves. And the other map that this is present on, the other map that this is on, check Shadows of the Fallen. We've got it on this map of the Northern Radidian. And then we've got it on this map. I included it up here, right there. And I think in that case, I'm just going to delete it on that map. So let's open it up. That one is called Iram. No, sorry, that one is called New Orchimene. The Orchimene is the name of the entire world that this is in, which is I kind of went with like instead of like the traditional like medieval sort of setting for this fantasy, I went with more of a like Greek and Roman, like ancient Greek and ancient Roman sort of world, because that's the sort of stuff that I've always been interested in. I studied history in college and really liked ancient history, especially Greece and Rome. Like that stuff, all the stuff in the classical world is really cool. So the cultures in this world are very much based on ancient Mediterranean cultures. This is very much modeled after the ancient Mediterranean world. And so we've got, these different continents here that some of them are connected, but all of the people in this world, are very seafaring sort of people. It's integral to, how they interact with one another and the entire world. And, oh wait, I want the labels tool. There we go. I'm going to select this one. And I am just going to hit the backspace key. And that one was a significantly easier fix. And while I got this open, I'll just show you a little bit of what it is. In the first book, we spend most of our time on this continent here, Thacia. And then the characters kind of work their way north, and the second book takes place kind of in this area too. And then some of the characters go back to this place of Nolia. And the third book, some of it takes place in this Mythian thalassocracy here, Mythian territory. And some of it is down here, near this little Darvel area, and some of it is way up here near Ethia. But the fourth and possibly fifth book, we'll see how that all pans out. The fourth and fifth book take place over in this area, on this big continent called Iram. And between books 3 and 4, all of these characters kind of are on the warpath. They're making their way toward this part of the map, and they're going to invade the lands of the bad guy. Because in this story, it's like the bad guys and all of the monsters and stuff, they have been invading the good guys' lands. And I thought, okay, cool if we can defeat them, through fighting defensively. Okay, that's what we can do. We can beat them through fighting defensively, and maybe a small team goes and tries to overthrow them in their land. But I decided to go a different way, and instead it's like the main characters, they gather all their forces, including most of the civilians who they are in charge of, and they set sail, and then they march across this area in Darceta, and then they set sail across here, and they are, as an entire civilization, multiple civilizations that have been brought together out of necessity, they are all invading the bad guys' land. So I wanted the main characters to be more active, I guess. Or the word is proactive, not active. I wanted the main characters, the good guys, to be more proactive than I usually see in most books. Usually, good guys are more reactive, right? It's like, that's why villains are so interesting a lot of the times, because they're more proactive. Darth Vader is usually doing more to advance the story than Luke Skywalker is. Or you can use that in pretty much... There's a lot of examples of that, where the bad guys are really proactive and the good guys are trying to react to everything that the bad guys are doing. And so I thought it would be cool for this book to be like, no, the good guys are the ones who are being proactive. They are taking it upon themselves to go and invade the bad guy's lands, to take the fight to him, to take their fates into their own hands. And so that's what happens in books 4 and 5, because like I said, I think it's going to be 2 books, but I got to get my act together and bring out at least one of them. My plan is, even if it is 2 books, I think what I'm going to do is bring them both out on the same day, so that those people who have been waiting for the conclusion, they don't have to wait any longer than necessary. So all I have to do now is I will be saving and exporting the images of these maps, and then I will put them into the book files and upload them. And it's not going to fix any of the maps that are already out there in the world in these hardcover editions, and soon to be in the newer paperback editions that I'm bringing out. But at least it's going to be fixed in the new editions, and at least it doesn't look like one of my characters failed geography class, because at least there's not that inconsistency anymore. So if you have any questions about how to use Wonderdraft, don't ask me, because I clearly don't know. So there we have it. Not that anybody probably would have noticed, but I noticed. So mini crisis averted. We've fixed the maps, and in the new editions, it'll be fixed. So thank you for peering over my shoulder as I did a little bit of work this afternoon during my son's nap time. And I'll be back with another video soon. I've enjoyed doing these, and I've gotten some positive feedback from people who have enjoyed watching some of the work and just getting a little behind the scenes look at some of the stuff that I'm doing. I'm an independent author. I am self-published, and so if you're interested in my books, if you want to see more of what I do, please give me a like or subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you really want to make my day, please check out one of my books. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.